Jensen just told us that SaaS is cooked, but he did it politely. Jensen was on the Dwarkesh podcast this week. Now, if you saw my previous post about PE firms not having any consensus when it comes to the future of SaaS, let's call this one the sequel, because he said something that founders and investors really need to read through the lines to understand what he actually told you. Now, comment Jensen and I'll shoot it over to you, of course, but listen to what he says and see if you can catch it.
I think tool use is going to cause these software companies to skyrocket. The reason why it hasn't happened yet is because the agents aren't good enough at using their tools yet. And so either these companies are going to build the agents themselves, or agents are going to get good enough to be able to use those tools. And I think it's going to be a combination of both.
Now, he said it'll be a combination of both, but I think Jensen's actually just trying to be diplomatic here. Because think about what he's actually describing. Why would agents need to pay $100,000 for a SaaS seat when they could just spin up like an ephemeral API endpoint and do the job themselves? On demand for a fraction of the cost, and then just shut that tool down once they're done using it. The agent doesn't need a seat. It doesn't need a dashboard. It doesn't need a quarterly business review. All it needs is an endpoint and a task. What they do is just execute. Jensen knows this. I mean, he's the one selling all the compute. Jensen's selling the picks and shovels for every AI gold rush on earth. So he has a front row seat to exactly what's going on here. And I think he's choosing his words very carefully. Because if he comes out and just says agents are going to replace all SaaS tool use, it's not just someone just calling a trend. He'd be accelerating it. Accelerating all these SaaS stocks that we're seeing crater already. Customers will start pausing their renewals. We all know the market basically moves of whatever he says. So instead of saying that, he's going to say it's a combination of both. And then let all the founders and investors who can read between the lines actually figure out the rest. He's almost like a person who knows a plot twist of a movie and doesn't want to spoil the ending. Because the ending is that the SaaS per seat model is going to get compressed. Because the future is going to belong to people who are actually selling outcomes, not access. And the infrastructure layer that powers that execution is where all the value is going to accrue. Jensen already told you who wins. You just have to listen to what he didn't say. And again, if you like this sort of thing and want to stay close, join our community Frontier, link in bio.